From the station working for you, this is breaking news from WRTV.
I don't even know. I'm confused. I'm scared. I'm nervous. I don't even know how to act. I don't know to be mad, cry, scream. I don't know.
The confusion, nervousness, and fright turning into heartbreak this morning. 8 people killed at a Fedex ground facility near the airport on the city's southwest side in Indianapolis. Thank you for joining us on this very tough and tragic morning. The investigation into the horrific scene ongoing this 5 o'clock hour. I'm Megan Shen, and we'll check in with your weather and traffic updates with Todd Clausen in just a few minutes. But first, let's get to the breaking news. Our Rafael Sanchez is live on the southwest side this morning. And Rafael, get the community up to speed.
People running for cover, Megan, people running for their lives. And when the gunfire stopped, 8 people, 8 of our neighbors were found dead. That's the situation here at the Fedex ground facility on the southwest side of Indianapolis. Behind me at a distance, you can see the flashing lights. This facility is closed as police continue their investigation. Let me show you the map to show you exactly where I'm standing at right at this very moment. This is the 8,000 block of Maribel Road. We're on the southwest side of Indianapolis, just some 8 minutes away from Indianapolis International Airport. And right after 11 o'clock, 911 began receiving calls from people reporting gunshots being fired outside and inside of the building. Police were able to arrive here very quickly. We should also tell you that there were reports of people calling from outside and inside, calling family members, reporting the gunfire. Also reports of people hiding underneath conveyor belts as they heard the gunfire inside of that building. As for the gunman, we're told that the gunman killed himself. They did find a weapon by his side. That weapon is being described, WRTV investigates, as a long gun. The man's body was found at a parking lot not too far away from the building behind me. That's the latest on the investigation. But our focus this morning right now is on the family. Those families that are being reunited with one another, being told that their family members are okay. Others being told that their family members will not return home because they were killed in this situation. Our Troy Washington continues now with our team coverage. Troy, what can you tell us?
Well, Rafael, I have to be honest with you. There is a heaviness here at the Holiday Inn Express. This is where family members were told to come if they had any questions or if they were worried about their loved ones. And some of them have been waiting for hours, and some of them are still here waiting. Now, I was listening, the receptionist at the front desk, they are fielding calls because people are calling in. They're hearing and seeing on the news that they should come to this Holiday Inn Express near the airport. And they're calling the hotel and asking questions about what should they do? Where should they go? There are chaplains here to comfort those family members. But again, so many family members worried and just wondering what's going on. Some of those employees are still being questioned, and that's some of the confusion as well. It's just leaving a lot of the relatives here wondering. Now, I will tell you that I talked with a grandmother, and I can't wait until we get that sound in so you guys can hear for yourself just the hurt and just the pain of wondering and worrying while you're waiting. So the grandmother says she was coming here and she was praying the entire way that her grandson will be okay. Now, we're talking with people, and I've been out here since about 1 a.m. talking with relatives, getting those updates, and actually seeing when their loved ones arrive here. Some of those people not as fortunate, but again, there's a heaviness here. And of course, we'll be here on this scene to bring you the latest. Reporting live on the southwest side, I'm Troy Washington, WRTV. Back to you, Rafael.
That heaviness comes with heartbreak. It is a difficult day in Indianapolis with this mass shooting, of course, unfolding here in our city on the city's southwest side. Police are hard at work trying to figure out exactly what led to the shooting. Why did this happen here in Indianapolis? Our team coverage now continues with our Kelsey Anderson, who is following the very latest. Kelsey, you've been talking to police. What are they telling you this morning as they try to put the pieces together?
Well, Rafael, what they're telling us right now is there's still a lot of work to do to put the pieces together to what's happened here overnight at this FedEx facility. So we've heard from IMPD twice this morning. The first time around 1 a.m. That's about 2 hours after that first 911 call came in. Officer Janae Cook gave us very little information. She said there was an active shooting scene, but the alleged gunman had taken his own life and there was no threat to the public. Then 2 hours later, we heard from her again, and that's when she gave us some more information. That's when she told us that there were 8 shooting victims here at the FedEx facility. They were pronounced dead here at the scene. Then several people were transported to the hospital, 2 others treated here at the scene. And then they were getting word of more people walking into hospitals, taking themselves to get treatment after running for their lives, essentially. And so she is saying that if you are expected to work this morning here at that FedEx facility, you need to call your supervisor, because she says it's not going to be open for quite some time.
This building is going to be closed for a while due to this investigation. This is going to go long into the morning. There are a lot of components that detect and get the evidence picked up.
So again, if you are expected to work this morning at this FedEx facility, call your supervisor, figure out exactly what you are supposed to do. And then she also says that if you were here this morning, working last night, when those shots started ringing out and you fled the area, whether for your own safety or for treatment, they do want to hear from you. So you need to call police. That anonymous tip line, Crime Stoppers, is 317-262-TIPS. We will continue to update you throughout the morning on what's happening here. But for now, I'm going to send it back to you in the studio, Megan.
Kelsey, thank you so much for your reporting. And we will be checking in with our crews all morning, bringing you live updates as we get them. You can also find the very latest at WRTV.com. And time now is 5:07 on this Friday. How are the roads looking, Todd?
All is quiet on the roadways here this morning, Megan, which is good news. We have no precipitation out there, so all the roadways will be dry no matter where you are here across central Indiana. No accidents to remind you of here or alert you to, but just remind you that there is construction now on quite a few roadways here across central Indiana, so just give yourself a little bit of extra time. I mentioned no moisture on the roadways. That's because the skies are clear here this morning. We have a mainly clear sky and temperatures that are on the cool side once again. In fact, everybody's into the 30s now with the update that came in at the top of the hour. 39 in Indy, 35 in Kokomo. Bloomington right now at 37 degrees. The winds are calm and light across the area, which is good news after what was a pretty breezy day yesterday. Radar is nice and quiet. The clouds are not present here across a good portion of the area, at least for right now. But as you look off to the west, you do notice this storm system. We're going to keep the rain away for the day today, but as the day goes on, we're going to start to see the clouds increase a little bit. So the overall trend throughout the day today will be for increasing clouds. It turns into a mostly cloudy afternoon for us, but it's still dry. That is the good news, with a high temperature that tops off right around 60 degrees. Plenty more coming up here on Good Morning Indiana. We're back in just a couple minutes. Stay with us and we'll see you then.
I opened my chips, got my sandwich, about to take a bite. He was about to take a bite out of his sandwich, and we heard 2 loud metal clangs at first, because they didn't sound like gunshots at first. They made, because there was a loud clang after the first 2, and then my buddy Levi stood up as he was like kind of squatting at the bench, and then looked over and out into the parking lot. Didn't see anything yet. And then we heard 3 more shots, and then my buddy Levi saw someone running out of the building. And then more shots went off. Somebody went behind their car to the trunk and got another gun, and then I saw 1 body on the floor.
We continue to follow breaking news that continues to unfold here on WRTV, that one of the many eyewitnesses to a mass shooting here in Indianapolis. Here is the latest on this Friday morning. This shooting happened at the Fedex ground facility on the 8,000 block of Maribel Road on the southwest side of Indianapolis. 8 people were killed. We can tell you that a number of people were taken to area hospitals because they were injured. Some family members are now being reunited with their family members and also learning about the deaths. We can tell you that the suspect died by suicide. A source tells WRTV investigates that a weapon described as a long gun was found by his body at a parking lot not too far away from this facility. That is the latest from the city's southwest side. Rafael Sanchez. Megan, now back to you in Studio A.
Rafael, and since you're out there, just real quick, how is the emotion out there right now?
Well, you know, Megan, I'm not with the families as Troy Washington is, and I have to tell you that when I got the call this morning, on a personal note, and my thoughts don't really matter, but on a personal note, when the news director called, as the parent of 2 college-age students, I thought the very worst. As a parent, when you get that call, and then to find out the details and to see what is happening at that hotel, where Troy is, I just cannot imagine the level of pain and emotion and heartbreak. It's the kind of thing that no one wants to have to face, but that a number of families, 8 families, are facing. Not only those families, Megan, but we have to think about also the mental health issues that will now emanate from the situation. To see your coworkers killed in front of you, to run for cover, to run for your life, to call a parent or an aunt or a son or a daughter to say, hey, I think I may not make it home tonight because someone is shooting at my workplace. That is a horrible way to start the day. And of course, this is something that luckily there are a number of chaplains and mental health experts that will be here to embrace these families, to help them through what is now a nightmare in our city.
Ralph, thank you. A lot of trauma and a lot of healing will be needed in the near future. All right, well, it has been a deadly year so far in Indianapolis, so let's take a look back at 2021 so far. In January, a teenage suspect shot and killed 4 members of his family, his brother's girlfriend and her unborn child included. Raymond Ronald Lee Childs III faces 6 counts of murder. A 15-year-old survivor says Childs got into an argument with his father because he left home without permission and would be in trouble later. And working for you after multiple mass shootings this year, we looked into how our local police department is training to respond to something like what just happened. And this is a story we told you last month. For the last several years, all IMPD recruits have been extensive training in active killer situations. And districts also include ongoing trainings that they have and participate in regularly. Officers are constantly implementing actual scenarios that have happened around the country, so they're prepared for anything they might see. And they use role players when it comes to recreating the chaos, firing simunition rounds at officers, and those are similar to paintballs.
Use 1 active killer, maybe 2, it may be multiple, and then to train our officers that there is a way to tactically go about doing this. It's not a free-for-all.
There is no national standard for how police departments respond to active shooters. IMPD officials say their officers are trained to go directly after the threat, and that could mean moving past critically injured victims. And if you're ever in an active shooter situation, IMPD recommends the following things. The best thing you can do is run and keep running until you're out of harm's way. Then call 911. And the more people that call, the better. If you can't run, hide. Hide inside a room and barricade the door. And if you're outside, get behind something that will stop bullets, such as a car or a large tree, and prepare to fight. IMPD suggests grabbing a chair, looking for a fire extinguisher or something to strike the shooter if they attack. And many schools and other organizations use a safety training system called ALICE. We've all heard of it. It's an acronym for Alert, Lockdown, Inform, Counter, Evacuate. An alert is when you first become aware of the threat. The sooner you understand that you're in danger, the sooner you can save yourself. If evacuating is not a safe option, the next step is locking down by barricading your room. Inform means continuing to communicate as real time as possible. And that includes things like sharing video surveillance, calling 911, and making PA announcements. And countering should be last resort. And it is taught as creating distractions and decreasing the shooter's accuracy. And finally, evacuate, remove yourself from the danger zone when it's safe to do so. And time now is 5:17. Todd, a very swift change to some sunny weather.
Yeah, you know, today's going to be a decent day weather-wise here for us. Yesterday, a little chilly when the sun was out. It wasn't too bad, but when we were in the clouds, you definitely needed to have the jacket. And we'll continue with our trend of a couple chilly mornings. In fact, tomorrow morning is probably going to be our coolest morning of all of them. It's a fairly dry forecast. There will be just a few spotty showers that try to sneak in the forecast tomorrow morning, but in all honesty, I wouldn't really worry about them. And I'll show you on TrueCast coming up in just a second. Outside right now, as you look from downtown to the north, no visibility issues. And the skies are mainly clear across most of central Indiana. There's a little bit of high, thin cloud cover for those of you in northern locations. And as we expand out, we really just kind of find ourselves in a pretty good spot. We have that storm system behind me that was the culprit for the clouds yesterday. And then off to our west, you notice the clouds and also some rain. But we have the clear skies for now. Eventually, some of these clouds are going to start to sneak in here as the day goes on. But we will hold the rain showers or the rain chances off until probably early tomorrow morning. Around this time tomorrow morning, there'll be the opportunity for a few scattered showers here and there. As far as TrueCast goes, you notice the clouds increasing this afternoon. First, they're just the high, thin clouds, and carry on with any plans you have for the day today. It's not a bad day at all. Temperatures will be running a little bit warmer than they were yesterday, as we'll see our temperatures, which are chilly right now, in the 30s and 40s. In fact, 34 currently in Greenfield and Richmond, 35 in Greencastle. With the sunshine right away here this morning, our temperatures, once the sun comes up, will moderate very quickly. So once we get past that 8 o'clock hour, by 11 p.m. or 11 a.m. rather, we're at 51 degrees, and then we'll continue to warm to high temperatures today. That'll be in the upper 50s here in northern locations, right around 60 degrees in and around the metro area, 62 in Martinsville as well as Shelbyville, and then highs will be generally right around 62, 63 degrees in southern locations, and that takes us a little bit closer to normal. Now it's Friday night, you may have plans, something going on around town. If you're outside, mostly cloudy skies, no threat of any rain though this evening. Temperatures will be in the 50s, and here are those temperatures I mentioned for tomorrow morning. It gets cold. In fact, some areas to the north could be around the freezing mark, so frost will be a possibility tomorrow morning, and then throughout the day tomorrow, temperatures will climb only into the upper 50s across the area, with mostly cloudy skies to start. A little bit of sunshine works in late in the day on Saturday, but here's TrueCast and those shower chances that I mentioned. It's just some light spotty showers that come in. This is 4:30 in the morning, but watch what happens. As I advance this throughout the morning, the showers really start to diminish. So for those of you in southern locations, it's a hit or miss shower. For most of us, it's just a mostly cloudy start to our day on Saturday, with high temperatures that'll be topping off right around 58 degrees. Monday's by far the best day in the 7-day planning forecast. Keep that in mind. 64 with sunshine. Tuesday, showers and much cooler across the area, with high temperatures that may struggle to get out into the 40s. All right, let's transition over to traffic. It's pretty quiet on the roadways all across the area right now, but I will alert you to that road construction that started on 146th Street. It is closed as you approach State Road 37 there, so you cannot use 146 as a cross street there to get across US 37 right now, so just give yourself some extra time, Indiana 37 I should say, in that area. Otherwise, all the highways are moving at speed here this morning. Megan.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. And today you can honor a life and help save lives by giving blood. A blood drive honoring fallen IMPD officer Brianne Leith goes from noon to 6 this afternoon at East District headquarters on North Shaylin Avenue. Officer Leith was shot and killed in the line of duty in April of last year. And if you can't make it, then the drive continues from 10 to 3 on Saturday. And you can register online at redcrossblood.org or by calling 1-800-RED-CROSS. And the first IU Health Medicare clinic in Indianapolis is now open to patients. It's on Washington near Shaylin on the east side. IU Health says the Connected Care office provides a range of health care services to adults on Medicare, including social, financial, and mental health. Officials say the clinic addresses a growing need for strong preventative care management and the ability to address non-clinical concerns that impact a patient's health.
I think we're seeing a wave of healthcare in which population health is becoming more and more at the center of what we do. And population health means helping patients achieve maybe a little bit lower cost of care in the end by providing high quality clinical care up front, and through the coaching and the self-empowerment for patients to maybe really wrangle and better manage whatever chronic conditions they might be going through, or to feel confident that they can manage what can be very complex diseases through that coaching and empowerment.
IU Health Connected Care will serve Medicare, Medicare Advantage, and dual eligible Medicare Medicaid patients. Additional clinics under this model are planned in the future. And stay with us here on Good Morning Indiana. We'll be right back with more breaking news, weather, and traffic in just a bit.
And welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. The time now is 5:26 as you get going on this Friday morning. Temperatures are on the cool side. You'll definitely need to have the jacket handy. Crawfordsville 33 degrees, getting very close to that freezing mark. 38 in Muncie, 41 is the current temperature in Bloomington. So there's a bit of a temperature spread this morning across the area. The brightest part of our day is the first half of our day, and that'll result in temperatures climbing pretty quickly this morning up into the mid-50s already by the noon hour. And then once we get into the afternoon hours, we'll turn mostly cloudy, but we remain dry. High temperatures right around 60 degrees. We'll talk more about your weekend forecast and have the latest on that mass shooting coming up here on Good Morning Indiana when we continue at 5:30.
From the station working for you, this is breaking news from WRTV.
The terrifying moment. Metro Police were called to a Fedex facility near the airport for an active shooter situation. And this scene is still unfolding this morning as a mass shooting in Indianapolis. Megan Shen, thank you for your time. We'll check in for the weather and traffic in just a bit with meteorologist Todd Clausen. But let's start out with the breaking news. Our Rafael Sanchez is live on the southwest side this morning. Rafael, get us up to speed.
We've seen these mass shootings across the country, and this morning we are waking up to the heartbreak and the horror of a mass shooting right here in our very own city. 8 people dead. The suspect died by suicide right here at this Fedex Express ground building on the southwest side of Indianapolis. Let me show you the exact location where we are this morning as this story unfolds right here in the Circle City. This is the 8,000 block of Maribel Road. It is on the southwest side of Indianapolis, some 8 miles or maybe just 3 minutes away from Indianapolis International Airport. I can tell you that the calls for help came in at around 11 o'clock last night to 911. Reports of gunfire being heard inside and outside of the building. Metro Police now describing the scene inside the building as something that no one should ever have to see. I can also tell you that the suspect, described as a man, was found dead in a parking lot not too far from the facility. Again, we are told that he died by suicide. Of course, as the investigation now unfolds, the other big story of the morning, the families, the 8 families now hearing the grim reality of what happened here that happened last night and unfolding as we speak. Our Troy Washington now with our team coverage. Troy, what are the families telling you?
Well, mainly they're just asking questions. They're puzzled. They're trying to put it all together, and they just want to know that their loved ones are okay or what's going on. A lot of them are asking questions. They're pacing. They're hugging each other. They're crying. There's just so many questions here. When we pulled up here at the Holiday Inn Express, there were so many families rushing in. A lot of them say that they just saw on our live newscast that they were supposed to come here to get some answers. So they were here in the lobby asking questions and just sitting there waiting. A lot of them have been waiting since around midnight and around 1 a.m. when we pulled up, and some of those families are still waiting here, still trying to get some answers. Now, about 2 hours in, they did get some answers. They got an update, and the chaplains are comforting them. They are letting them know, if you need anything, we're here to help. We're here to comfort you. And so a lot of people just bonding through this trauma right now and the heartbreak and the pain, because there is a common bond there, unfortunately, that people have lost people here tonight, and people are hurt. I talked with some family members who their loved ones are victims, but they did survive. So there's a lot of hurt in this city right now, in the Circle City. And even as daylight, we begin to see the light of day, we'll learn even more about the victims involved here. So we'll definitely keep you guys updated. Again, a lot of these family members, they've been out here all night, going into the morning, still pacing, just looking for answers. Back to you, Raphael.
Who am I tossing to?
Troy Washington reporting live this morning. Thank you so much. This mass shooting in Indianapolis could turn out to be one of the biggest in the city's history, as police are still on the scene. Behind me, you can see some of the flashing lights as police officers, detectives remain here. That should go on for a couple of more hours. For that part of that developing story, our team coverage now continues with my colleague, Kelsey Anderson. Kelsey, you've been talking to police throughout the last few hours. What are they telling you, and how long do they plan to be here?
Well, like you said, Raphael, they're going to be here for a while. Officer Janae Cook with IMPD telling us that it's going to be closed for throughout the morning, basically, is what she's saying. They're not sure exactly when things are going to wrap up because they are still trying to piece together this puzzle of what happened here at the Fedex building overnight. So we heard from her first at 1 a.m. this morning, and that's when she gave us very little information. She just said that there was an active scene.
I know nothing about that.
And then the shooter, the alleged shooter, had taken his own life. Then at 3 o'clock, we heard from her again, and that's when she gave us some more information. She told us that there were 8 victims found with gunshot wounds, all pronounced dead at the scene. And then she also told us that there were several people transported to the hospital. She said some people were treated here at the scene. And then they also learned more that there was people walking into hospitals around the area getting that treatment as well. So they want to hear from all of those people who were here last night and into this morning at that FedEx building. But she says right now is the time for the community to come together.
We, as Indianapolis members, need to come together. We need to support each other and understand that there are going to be people out there that are going to be emotionally upset, and we need to support them regardless of any circumstance. This is a tragedy, but yet through it all, we will come through it, with flying colors.
Again, if you work here at that FedEx building and are expected to be into work this morning, she suggests you call your supervisor because this building will not be open for quite some time. Again, as they piece together what happened here last night. And I had a lot of people reaching out to me on Twitter asking more information about the suspect. We don't have that information now, but we are expecting to hear more from IMPD later this morning. She told us there would be another press conference. We don't know the time or where that's at right now, but of course, we will keep you updated. Reporting live in Indianapolis, Kelsey Anderson.
Kelsey, thank you so much. The big question this moment, of course, is who is the person who committed this crime? And of course, the other big concern is for the families. That's the first thing. We're all concerned about the families, but there's a lot of questions, as Kelsey mentioned, as to who is the person that did this morning. I should point out that many of you who are waking up this morning trying to figure out what's happening, you know that this is happening not too far from the airport. Again, I just want to point out that the airport is telling me that this should have no impact on travel in the area, should have no impact if you plan on flying out of Indianapolis International Airport. That in no way what's happening here is not impacting what is happening over at the airport. Megan, we'll continue to follow the very latest as it comes in right here on WRTV as well as WRTV.com. Now back to you in Studio A.
Raphael, thank you. And we could really sense the emotion out there. But there are so many questions, including a motive. But most importantly, it is a FedEx facility, so they most likely have cameras inside. Do we know anything about that portion of the investigation, possible surveillance footage, something of the sort?
Yeah. Not aware yet as to how far investigators, what they're collecting, but I'm going to, just as someone who has covered this city for 23 years and knowing just how secure these buildings are, I would not be surprised right now if there are multiple cameras just trained on us alone, because these buildings are big, and of course the packaging involved and the corporate security. So there would be no surprise if, for example, that there will be much surveillance video to be collected by police. That would not surprise me in the least bit. These are some of the most secure buildings because they're considered soft targets. It's soft targets, especially after 9/11. All of these buildings were encouraged courage to step up their security. So I would not be surprised, Megan, if police asked the folks here at FedEx to turn over some surveillance video at some point to be able to identify the suspect that was found dead not too far from here, but to also get a better sense of what was happening inside the facility at the time when the shootings began last night. I should also point out that extra security has been added to the FedEx hub facility not too far from here in light of what's happened just some 3 miles away. Now back to you, Megan.
Tragic day. Thank you, Raphael. And FedEx issued a statement on the shooting saying in part, quote, "Safety is our top priority and our thoughts are with all of those who are affected. And we're working to gather more information and are cooperating with investigating authorities," end quote. Indiana Congressman Andre Carson also releasing a statement overnight saying in part, "I am heartbroken by the mass shooting here in Indianapolis and praying for all affected by this tragedy." Congressman Carson went on to say he's working with local authorities to learn more and is standing by to help anyone affected. And working for you, after multiple mass shootings this year, we looked into how our local police department is training to respond to something like this. This is a story we told you just last month, and for the last several years, all IMPD recruits have had extensive training in active killer situations. Districts also having ongoing training. Officers are constantly implementing actual scenarios that have happened across the country, so they're prepared for naturally anything. And they have people coming in to role play and create chaos, firing ammunition rounds at officers, and similar simulation is similar to paintballs.
Use one active killer, maybe two, it may be multiple, and then to train our officers that there is a way to tactically go about doing this. It's not a free-for-all.
And there's no national standard for how police departments respond to active shooters. IMPD says their officers are trained to go directly after the threat. And that could mean moving past critically injured victims in the first portion of their response. And if you're ever in an active shooter situation, IMPD recommends the following things. The best thing you can do is run and keep running until you're out of harm's way. Then call 911. The more people that call, the better. And if you can't run, hide. Hide inside a room and barricade the door. If you're outside, get behind something that will stop bullets, such as a large car or a tree, and prepare to fight. IMPD suggests grabbing a chair, looking for a fire extinguisher or something to try to strike the shooter if they attack. We'll be checking in with our crews all morning, bringing you live updates as we get them on this breaking news and mass shooting in Indianapolis. You can also find the very latest on WRTV.com. Now, time is 5:41 on this Friday, Todd. Let's get a check of the weather.
Yeah, as you walk out the door here this morning, temperatures are cool, so you definitely need to have the jacket once again this morning, and you can also grab the sunglasses. The first half of our day today is going to be the brightest part of our day. As we get into the afternoon hours, we're going to start to see the clouds increase, but look at the temperatures here in central Indiana. As cool as 33 in Peru, it's 39 right now in Indy, 37 in Bloomington. And these temperatures will likely go down another couple degrees when we get the new update in at the top of the hours. So definitely a chilly morning with the clear skies and the light winds, a little more in the way of cloud cover to the north. But we really find ourselves in a decent spot today weather-wise. They have snow in New England, and then we have some rain and snow back off to the west in parts of Colorado and even into Kansas. And we have the clear skies. Now, the one thing you will notice throughout the day today is some of the clouds from that storm out west will start to make their way towards our area. We go from partly cloudy to mostly cloudy throughout the day with a high temperature right up to 60 degrees, but the rain showers will hold off for our Friday. We'll talk more about your weekend forecast coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues in just a couple minutes.
I opened my chips, got my sandwich, about to take a bite. He was about to take a bite out of his sandwich, and we heard two loud metal clangs at first because they didn't sound like gunshots at first. They made, because there was a loud clang after the first two, and then my buddy Levi stood up as he was like kind of squatting at the bench, and then looked over and out into the parking lot. Didn't see anything yet. And then we heard 3 more shots, and then my buddy Levi saw someone running out of the building. And then more shots went off. Somebody went behind their car to the trunk and got another gun, and then I saw one body on the floor.
Seems like we have some technical difficulties. We'll get back to Rafael Sanchez as the audio picks up there in just a second. And we know Rafael's over at the scene. He's been there for hours since this all started. He was in here earlier on. We know, to recap, this whole situation started around 11 p.m. last night and continues. Of course, there's no active threat to the community, but I think Rafael might be ready for us in just a few minutes. All right, it has been a deadly year so far in Indianapolis, and let's take a look back. In January, a teenage suspect shot and killed 4 members of his family, his brother's girlfriend, and her unborn child. Raymond Ronald Lee Childs III faces 6 counts of murder now. A 15-year-old survivor says Childs got into an argument with his father because he left home without permission and would be in trouble later. And you can find more on the Alice active shooter training, which of course incorporated at schools for shooter training. We'll have that information for you and yours to look at on our website, WRTV.com. And we'll continue to check in with our crews for an update in the field with the very latest on this mass shooting in Indianapolis. Stick with us throughout the morning and find the very latest online at WRTV.com. Now let's get a check of the weather with meteorologist Todd Clausen.
All right, it's a chilly morning for us here across central Indiana as temperatures have dropped into the 30s in most locations all across the area. Now, the winds have stayed up just a little bit, and I know 3 miles per hour isn't a whole lot as far as wind goes, but it is enough to prevent some frost from developing across the area. So that's at least some good news. We're at 39 in Indy, but look at some of these temperatures in the outlying areas. 34 in Greenfield as well as Richmond. 35 is the current temperature in Greencastle. Bloomington is at 37 and Peru down to 33. So you're inching very, very close to the freezing mark, and we're kind of just stuck in this real chilly weather pattern, not only here in central Indiana, but across most of the Midwest. In fact, all the 50s have been pushed way down to our south here this morning. But with a lot of sunshine here this morning right off the bat, we'll start to see our temperatures moderate really, really quickly. Yesterday we had the clouds, so temperatures just didn't really do a whole lot throughout the morning, and that's what this stronger April sunshine can do. It can help warm things very, very quickly across the area. And it will be a brief window of sunshine. You can see our next storm system off to the west, and the clouds will start to move in as we get into the course of the afternoon hours. But at least this rainfall and even some snow in Nebraska this morning, that is going to stay off to our west at least until tomorrow morning. And even when it arrives, we're only looking at the chance of a few very, very spotty showers. Quickly through the 30s this morning into the 40s, and by late morning we should be into the 50s already with the partly cloudy skies. And then as the clouds start to move in later on this afternoon, the temperatures kind of stall a little bit from that real quick warming, and we only get up to right around 60 degrees, which isn't terrible for this time of year, but it is a little bit below normal. We should be getting up to 63 for our high temperature for our average high here in the middle of April. This evening, it's Friday night. You may have plans. Temperatures will cool off pretty quickly once the sun sets, so make sure you grab the jacket. And tomorrow morning is the coldest morning of our streak of 30-degree mornings. I mentioned earlier in the week how it was going to be a 3-day deal. Tomorrow is the last day of the 30-degree mornings, and it's also the coldest. 32 in Peru, 34 in Indianapolis, Bloomington tomorrow morning down to right around 32 degrees. And I do think tomorrow morning is probably the best opportunity for some patchy frost across the area. So if you do have some of those sensitive plants already in the ground and flowering trees, you may want to cover them up for a little bit of protection tomorrow morning. Quickly, here we go into the evening hours. It's 8 o'clock tonight. You notice the clouds will be increasing, remain dry. And then once we get to Saturday morning, this is 6:30, you're starting to see the scattered showers advance into the area. They're all very light. They're all very spotty. And watch as I advance this. They basically kind of just fall apart across the area. Tomorrow's not a rainy day for us by any means. Yes, some of you may see a sprinkle or two in southern locations in Bloomington as the day gets going. But overall, it's just kind of a mostly cloudy day for us with temperatures that'll be in the mid-50s across the area. And as you look at your 7-day planning forecast, Sunday's much better at 60 degrees. Monday's the best day in the 7-day planning forecast. Partly cloudy, a high of 64. Tuesday is about the worst day with the chilly conditions, 51 degrees. Some of you may not even get out of the 40s, and some scattered showers off and on throughout the day. And then slowly next week, temperatures will start to moderate once again back up into the 60s. But the good news is the roadways, they are dry this morning. morning. Here is a live look at I-70 over near Ronald Reagan Parkway and Ameriplex Parkway on I-70. I-70 was closed a little bit earlier for that mass shooting across the area. It's obviously now open. You see the traffic moving in both directions. No traffic delays anywhere here this morning across central Indiana. Megan.
Todd, thank you so much. And the first IU Health Medicare clinic in Indianapolis is now open to patients. It's on Washington near Shadeland on the east side. IU Health says the Connected Care office provides a range of healthcare services to adults on Medicare, including social, financial, and mental health. Officials say the clinic addresses a growing need for strong preventative care management and the ability to address non-clinical concerns that impact a patient's health.
I think we're seeing a wave of healthcare in which population health is becoming more and more at the center of what we do. And population health means helping patients achieve maybe a little bit lower cost of care in the end by providing high quality clinical care up front, and through the coaching and the self-empowerment for patients to maybe really wrangle and better manage whatever chronic conditions they might be going through, or to feel confident that they can manage what can be very complex diseases through that coaching and empowerment.
IU Health Connected Care will serve Medicare, Medicare Advantage, and dual eligible Medicare Medicaid patients. Additional clinics under this model are planned in the near future. We'll be right back here on this Friday. Stay with us on Good Morning Indiana.
I'm a little overwhelmed. I've worked here for 10 years. And I have never seen that happen in my life. That was an experience.
Processing the trauma this morning, we continue to follow breaking news and what has been at times a chaotic and then heartbreaking scene from the city's southwest side. This is a live look at the Fedex ground facility on Maribel Road near the Indianapolis International Airport. Police officers say 8 people were shot and killed around 11 o'clock Thursday night at this facility off the Ameriplex Parkway. Metro Police say the suspect was also found dead after dying by suicide. Several other people were taken to the hospital with injuries or drove themselves there. Our Rafael Sanchez, Kelsey Anderson, and Troy Washington have team coverage coming up at the bottom of this hour. And time now is 5:56. Let's get a check of the weather on this Friday with Todd Glassman.
All right, it's a chilly start to our day. In fact, Logansport, you're down to the freezing mark this morning at 32 degrees. Kokomo at 35, Lafayette 37, and Bloomington at 35 as well. And all those temperatures will probably go down another couple degrees with the update at the top of the hour. But radar is quiet this morning, and that is the good news. Skies are mainly clear. There could be a little bit of patchy frost out there across parts of the area, but it turns into a decent day for us. We'll have plenty of sunshine this morning, and that'll help the temperatures to warm fairly quickly. And we do get up to 60 degrees for your high, but the clouds will build this afternoon and into the evening hours, so we do eventually go mostly cloudy, but we remain dry for the day today. We'll talk about some rain chances that enter the forecast coming up for your weekend when Good Morning Indiana continues here at 6 a.m.